Oil built empires in the Persian Gulf, but a silent force is rising faster than any barrel price. Water is running out, and economies are at risk. This isn't just scarcity, it's a power shift that could reshape the region forever. The shift from oil wealth to water scarcity. For decades, the Persian Gulf region built its economies on oil wealth, creating strong cities, jobs, and global influence. Governments depended on energy exports to fund almost everything, from infrastructure to social benefits. But now, a different resource is becoming more important: water. Unlike oil, water is not abundant in this region. Natural freshwater sources are extremely limited, and rainfall is low. As populations grow and industries expand, water demand keeps rising. This creates a serious imbalance. Countries that once controlled global energy markets now struggle to secure enough clean water for daily life. This shift changes how governments plan for the future. Instead of focusing only on oil prices, leaders must deal with resource scarcity. Water is no longer just a basic need. It is becoming a strategic asset that can shape economic stability and long-term survival in the region. Why the Persian Gulf faces extreme water stress. The Persian Gulf region experiences some of the highest levels of water stress in the world. The main reason is its dry climate, with very little rainfall throughout the year. Natural rivers and lakes are almost non-existent, which limits access to renewable water sources. At the same time, population growth is increasing the demand for drinking water, agriculture, and industry. Urban expansion adds more pressure on already limited supplies. Another key factor is groundwater depletion. Many countries rely on underground water reserves, but these are being used faster than they can recover. As a result, water quality is also declining. High temperatures increase evaporation rates, making it even harder to store water. All these factors combine to create a serious imbalance between supply and demand. This ongoing pressure forces governments to rely on expensive solutions, turning water into a critical challenge for both economic and social stability. Desalination, lifeline, or unsustainable solution. To deal with water shortages, many Persian Gulf countries depend heavily on desalination. This process removes salt from seawater to produce fresh water, making it a key solution for daily needs. It supports cities, industries, and even agriculture in some areas. In many ways, desalination acts as a lifeline, allowing countries to survive in harsh conditions. However, it also comes with serious challenges. The process requires large amounts of energy, often powered by fossil fuels, which increases costs and environmental impact. It also produces brine waste, which can harm marine ecosystems when released back into the sea. As demand for water grows, countries must build more desalination plants, increasing both financial pressure and environmental risks. This raises an important question. Can desalination continue to support the region long-term, or will it become too costly and damaging? The answer will shape future water strategies. The true economic cost of producing water. Producing water in the Persian Gulf is far from cheap. Unlike regions with natural rivers and rainfall, these countries must invest heavily in infrastructure and technology. Desalination plants, pipelines, and storage systems require large amounts of capital investment. In addition, the ongoing cost of energy consumption makes water production even more expensive. Governments often provide subsidies to keep water affordable for citizens, but this creates pressure on national budgets. As oil revenues fluctuate, funding these systems becomes more difficult. There is also the hidden cost of maintaining and upgrading aging facilities. Over time, these expenses add up, turning water into a major economic burden. Industries that depend on water also face higher operating costs, which can affect overall economic growth. This situation forces governments to rethink how water is priced and managed, making it not just an environmental issue, but a serious financial challenge. How climate change is worsening the crisis. Climate change is making the water situation in the Persian Gulf even more severe. Rising temperatures increase evaporation, reducing already limited water supplies. Heat waves are becoming more frequent, which raises demand for water in homes, agriculture, and cooling systems. At the same time, rainfall patterns are becoming less predictable, making it harder to rely on natural sources. Another major issue is the impact on sea levels and coastal areas, which can affect desalination plants and infrastructure. Warmer oceans can also reduce the efficiency of water production systems. Climate change does not just reduce supply, it also increases demand, creating a dangerous cycle. This puts extra pressure on governments to invest in new solutions. Without proper planning, the gap between water supply and demand will continue to grow. This makes climate change a key driver of the region's water crisis and a major threat to long-term stability, population growth, and rising water demand. The Persian Gulf region is seeing rapid population growth, driven by both natural increase and large numbers of expatriate workers. More people means higher water demand for homes, industries, and public services. Cities are expanding fast, with new housing, malls, and infrastructure that all depend on steady water supply. Daily consumption is also rising because of higher living standards and modern lifestyles. Activities like cooling systems, landscaping, and sanitation use large amounts of water. At the same time, many countries offer water at low prices through government subsidies, which can lead to overuse. This creates pressure on already limited resources. Managing demand is becoming just as important as increasing supply. Governments now face the challenge of promoting water conservation while still supporting economic growth. Without better control, population expansion will continue to push water systems closer to their limits. Food security risks in water-dependent nations. Food production depends heavily on water availability, and this creates serious risks for Persian Gulf countries. Since local agriculture is limited by dry conditions, many nations rely on food imports to meet demand. This makes them vulnerable to global supply disruptions and price changes. Growing crops locally requires large amounts of water, which increases pressure on scarce resources. Some countries have tried to invest in farming projects abroad to secure food supplies, but this comes with political and economic risks. Another issue is the balance between using water for people or for agriculture. Choosing one often affects the other. As populations grow, ensuring stable food security becomes more difficult. Limited water resources make it hard to expand local farming. This forces governments to find new strategies, combining imports, technology, and smarter resource use to protect both food supply and long-term stability. Could water replace oil as the region's biggest asset or liability? For years, oil has been the main economic driver of the Persian Gulf, but water is becoming just as important. The region's limited supply turns water into a valuable resource, but also a major risk. If managed well, investments in water technology and infrastructure could create new opportunities for growth. Countries could become leaders in water innovation, exporting knowledge and solutions. However, if mismanaged, water scarcity can become a serious liability. High production costs, rising demand, and environmental challenges can strain economies. Unlike oil, water cannot be easily traded on global markets in the same way. This makes it harder to generate direct profit. Instead, its value lies in supporting life and economic activity. The balance between opportunity and risk will depend on how governments plan for the future. Water could shape the region's next economic chapter in powerful ways. What the future holds: crisis, innovation, or collapse. The future of water in the Persian Gulf will depend on the choices made today. If current trends continue without change, the region could face a deep water crisis that affects daily life, economic growth, and stability. However, there is also strong potential for innovation. Governments are already exploring new technologies, better management systems, and sustainable solutions to improve efficiency. Investments in research and smart infrastructure can reduce waste and increase supply. Public awareness and policy changes can also encourage more responsible use of water. At the same time, failure to act could lead to serious consequences, including rising costs and social pressure. The path forward is not fixed. It will be shaped by planning, cooperation, and long-term thinking. The region stands at a critical point where decisions will determine whether water becomes a challenge or a source of strength. Water may soon matter more than oil in the Persian Gulf, and the stakes are rising fast. The next decade will decide who adapts and who struggles. If this breakdown gave you new insight, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.